Christ said, I sent you as sheep amongst wolves. So, if you are sent as a sheep among wolves, then it is no use in avoiding wolves because Christ sent you as sheep amongst wolves. I don't mean that you need to engage with the wolves. No, absolutely not. But you will encounter wolves. Or better said, you will encounter predators. Now, it's important to know what a predator is when you encounter one. And Christ even warned you for wolves in sheep's clothing. Now look, Christ also said, therefore, he said, I sent you as sheep amongst wolves. Therefore, be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Being wise as a serpent is a commandment. Okay? So, in this video, there's a type of predator or a type of wolf I want to talk about that often we don't recognize as a predator. And that is the codependent. People often use labels to describe things. There's something wrong with that. That's how human language operates. But when it comes to the codependent, or in some cases, they're called empaths, people tend to have this, I would say, pink glasses that they put on. It's kind of duality. The narcissist is the bad guy or the bad woman, completely dangerous, and rightfully so that they describe the narcissist like that. One that can't help herself. Hold on. This does not add up as a narcissist, and in some circumstances even far more dangerous. Look, what people call empaths are often people that are highly sensitive to others' emotions. Well, some people are highly sensitive to others' emotions. But to put a label around such people and to ascribe attributes onto them that excuse them from being accountable towards the community and towards themselves, that goes so far. And then you have people that are called codependent, and they are told that they have issues they need to work through. And others are told about codependent, he or she just has issues. That's why they fall for the narcissist, that's why they fall for predators. It's not completely true. It's factual, but it's not the truth. Listen. There are all kinds of issues you will develop through this lifetime because you live in a fallen world. And shocking and traumatic things happen. Often, suddenly, out of the blue. So yes, there are a lot of people with issues. But people that have issues are also people in general that want to be safe. They value their safety. They acknowledge they are vulnerable. And because they acknowledge and realize that they are vulnerable, they want safety far more than other people without many issues. So people with issues in general, they want to be safe. Does it mean now that they have good discernment in detecting what's safe or not? No, that can be part of the issues they have, that they can't perceive things correctly. But human beings have a natural core need. They have a basic need for safety. And even if someone has issues because they've been traumatized, this core need for safety remains. You have, however, some people who've become so defective in their thinking, therefore also in their attitude towards life and towards others, that they will compromise their own safety just to receive validation from others. Those are the type of people I'm talking about in this video. They're called codependents in psychology, and in the online community on YouTube, they're called empaths in some cases. The label empath can be misleading, so let's keep it at codependent. The codependent as I just described, is a dangerous being. Don't just think about the narcissist, okay? People often are afraid of going for narcissists. But let me tell you, someone does not have to be a narcissist to be dangerous. The codependent is also a predator. He or she, I'm going to use the word he now, he's not a predator in the sense that he goes out to attack frustrations onto others. However, the codependent is a predator in the sense that, and because he's so centered and concerned with his own validation, he has no concern left for how his urge and how his obsession with validation affects those around him. When the codependent is called out on his behavior, he, just like the narcissist, will make excuses or will shift the attention of the conversation. Codependents, often instead of blaming someone else, they will shift attention. They will just divert the conversation so they won't have to face themselves. There are also female codependents, of course. Female codependents are by default seen as victims of their childhood, and they're often excused because of that. But I'm here to tell you, whether a codependent is a male or female, that doesn't matter. They are dangerous. Consider them predators. Just look at it this way. If you live in, let's say you live in a neighborhood, okay, and you're jogging in the park because you're jogging every morning, and one day you have these fierce dogs that appear out of nowhere, and those dogs are coming after you. You're jogging, right? You're running. Suddenly those dogs are coming after you, and you can see clearly that those dogs, they are hungry, they're frustrated, and they want to bite. Let's say there's a bunch of dogs coming after you. Though that is a dangerous situation. So you think for you to stop running now, you're in trouble. So you keep running and running, but you realize you can't run forever. And then you finally arrive at the house of someone. You knock on the door. The individual opens, and you rush in and you close the door and you tell the individual that you're running because you have a bunch of dogs coming after you. And you're exhausted, you're tired, you're frightened, so you're not lying. The individual at home for you can clearly see that you're distressed, that you are in danger. But now, instead of looking out of the window and seeing the dogs coming, the individual opens the door, him or herself, that means the owner of the place, and he looks around, or she looks around, and he or she can clearly see the raging dogs outside. Now, instead of acknowledging the situation that those are raging dogs were about to attack and devour at any time, let's say the individual is a she. She instead goes to the dogs with some meat and feed the dogs. She picks up meat from her refrigerator and feeds the predatory dogs. And at the same time, she leaves the door open to her house where the refugee arrived. The refugee wanted refuge. That's why she knocked on the door, because she wanted to be safe. Now, instead of considering the safety of the refugee in her care, she is so concerned with appeasing and pleasing the dogs, because she makes its move. Now, what happened here? The codependent, in this case, is the one who was at her house and someone came for help. It was obvious that the woman who was jogging, that came for help, was in need. She could even hear the raging dogs outside. What she should have done was keep the door closed so that both herself and the refugee with her remained safe. And if she needed help, she could call one of the neighbors by phone, or she could call 911 or whatever. Or if she had a gun, she could use the gun to fire some warning shots and the dogs would leave. Instead, she gave in to the demand of those raging dogs who acted like wolves. By doing that, she both endangered herself as a refugee that was with her. Maybe the term refugee is a bit loaded here, but I'm using that on purpose to highlight something here. In this case, the woman that was jogging in the morning, she encountered danger. She used to jog all the time in the morning and nothing happened. But this time there were raging dogs, I would say predators coming after her. And she sought refuge, which is the wisest thing to do when you're in danger, to seek refuge. There's nothing wrong with that. But the one offering or so-called giving the refuge enabled the predators. So who was the dangerous one here? The predators, in this case those dogs, or the one enabling and empowering the dogs? In this case, the dangerous figure really here is the codependent. Now look, every human being has this need to be acknowledged. And there's nothing narcissistic nor anything wrong with that. However, when this needs to be acknowledged, when this need becomes the central thing of someone's life, it goes way too far. And predators, they can sense this when someone has a validation issue. And predators take advantage of the validation issues of others. The codependent is an individual that does not want to face her or it's a he, his validation issues. They just want to be relieved. They want to be left alone. And here's the thing, predators are more than willing to offer them relief. And because the codependent is so into their own relief, they will endanger others by either keeping the predator around or by allowing the predator to have free access to their environment. Christ said, I sent you as sheep amongst wolves. The codependent is a type of predator that may after you. If you're under attack, the last individual you should be around is a codependent. He or she enables danger. Some of you are listening to this, you almost lost your life. Or you almost ended up in very bad places. You almost lost your long-term health or your long-term well-being because you entrusted a codependent. And at the time, it appeared as if the codependent was on your side. But here's what you need to understand. The codependent is only on his or her own side. The codependent is narcissistic. I'm not saying the codependent is a narcissist, but the codependent is narcissistic in the sense that the codependent is only on his or her own side. And that's a side where they receive relief or sympathy from others. Codependent are sympathy addicts. There's nothing wrong with longing for sympathy from others. That's a human thing to do. There's nothing wrong with that. However, beware who gives you sympathy, because not everyone that gives you sympathy does it for the right reasons. The codependent, however, is only interested in receiving sympathy. Now look, if you have, for example, a daughter who is codependent, I'm not telling you to disown her and to be harsh and cruel and all of that, no. But just don't entrust any important thing of you to her, even if she's your own daughter. If she, for example, is always in bad relationships and she doesn't want to face herself, face her own involvement in those bad relationships, then even though she may be exploited by narcissistic men, she is complying with predators. She's enabling and empowering predators. Sooner or later, the danger she carries with her will affect everyone around her. So she's endangering others also. And does she has any regard for the danger she causes? Well, first of all, she doesn't even want to notice it. And secondly, even if she becomes aware of it, the only thing that will motivate her to kind of change her behavior temporarily is the sympathy she will get for doing the right thing. She is a defective creature that carries danger with her. And don't expect her to one day show up for you and stand up for you. Nope. She will go where the best validation is. She is like a junkie who's addicted to crack or addicted to heroin. That's how she is. The same if you have a son or maybe a parent, whether it's a mother or father or a sibling or a coworker, whoever it is, that's codependence. I'm telling you. I'm really telling you. Consider them predators, because in practice they don't differ from examine people. I'm telling you, examine fools. Sometimes that this on inside, because remember Christ said, from the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. So if someone is codependent, sooner or later they will reveal this. And once you realize they are codependent, put your guard on. And please don't entrust anything important to you, to those folks. As a matter of fact, if you don't have to be involved with them, don't be involved with them at all. Don't make yourself extra vulnerable to the enemy, because Satan will attack because he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. You are vulnerable already as a human being. There's nothing wrong with your vulnerability, but Satan wants to use your vulnerability against you. Human predators in general do the same thing. So why make yourself extra vulnerable to predators? Well, that's it for this recording. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.